Hey folks, today we're looking at 5 of the top breakage points of G1 transformers. I'm showing you a picture of what I see every day in my home office on my desk. I've got a lot of transformers, every single one of which was the output of a repair project. And as I've done this more and more, I've started to see patterns where I run into the same missing or broken spot on the same toy over and over again. So as I comb through parts bins, it's helped me build a decent intuition about which projects are going to be pretty easy and which ones are going to be a real headache. So I wanted to show you a few of the, kind of top examples, and we're actually going to count down in order of increasing difficulty. We'll do a couple of easy ones where it's just a matter of missing pieces that you can pop back on, and we'll work our way up to some of the most classic and complex repairs that take quite a bit of practice. Now, in this video, I didn't intend to actually demonstrate a repair like we do normally, but in the process of recording, I did come across one problem area that just, uh, I just couldn't stand to leave it unaddressed. So it turns out you will get to see a repair happen impromptu. So let's get started with number 5, and that's G1 Sunstreaker. I like working on Sunstreaker. The parts go together in a logical way, and the diecast is rock solid as long as the paint is in good shape. So the prospects of refurbishing a Sunstreaker are usually pretty good. When they come to me, though, they do tend to look more like this, and this is a good demonstration of all those weak spots, one of which is definitely the most common, but all of these are typical. So starting at the back of the car, that spoiler is very frequently missing, either because it popped off the pegs or the post that it attaches to is actually broken. And it's not cheap to replace it, so it's often cheaper to just buy a Sunstreaker with the spoiler than to try to source a replacement spoiler. The roof or the canopy is often missing as well. It may be gone with the entire head, or it's just the roof. But by far the most common failure point is this black flap on the undercarriage is missing. And the reason for that is the way it attaches. It's not pinned. There are just these two little nubs here. And if you have a replacement part, it's really easy to just pop it right back on. But for the same reason, it's really easy to pop off and be lost. Number 4 is Hound, and he's unique among the early lineup in that he's the only one that had an automorphing feature, as long as you don't count the battle chargers and the jump starters, which were more pullback toy play patterns. With Hound, when you transformed him, his head would come out of that little recess in the hood. By the time he gets to me, he usually looks more like this, and not too bad, but there are some consistent points of failure that I'll take you through. First up, his tires tend to be cracked badly due to the harder rubber compound that they're molded in. The door may be missing, the windscreen is frequently detached, the auto-morphing feature may be broken internally. But far and away, the most common failure point on Hound is his missing side mirrors, and that comes down to the way that they're attached. Looking under the front fender, you can see that it's just a dab of glue holding the side mirror in. There's really no mechanical stability there to keep it from falling out, other than a tiny bit of friction from the post going through the fender. When the toy is missing the side mirror, you'll see that there's just a hole punched right through. You can see the dried glue. And to repair it, you simply have to find a replacement piece. You'll see a lot of Hounds out there with 0 mirrors or 1 mirror. Although if you are missing a right mirror, invariably you will only see left mirrors out there. Just stick it in there, put a dab of glue, and you'll be good to go. At number 3, we've got Tracks, and we're getting into more difficult territory here. It's a beautiful design. It shares those hexagonal center lock wheels with G1 Wheeljack. And from a certain point of view, he's also a triple changer. But he does have several weak points which result in structural failure. And when he gets to me, he usually looks a lot like this. And you can see some examples of those structural failures. There's one in particular that we'll look at today, which links back to the way little kids like me acted when a toy wasn't quite responding correctly. And that is I would jam it in harder or pull on it harder. And the result of that is what we see here with Trax's legs. They will neither extend fully nor collapse fully. So there's this permanent gap between the hood and the windshield. And for reference, this is how it's supposed to work. It should open and close smoothly all the way to the extremes and hold at both positions. So let me show you what's happening here. The issue is a flat metal leaf spring that is inside the leg to help it hold the extended and collapsed positions as the leg moves up and down the track. We'll open it up and show you what's happening. I can actually tell that the previous owner of this toy has opened up the leg before because there's a sticker covering a screw and they've punched through the sticker to access the screw. So probably they opened this up to harvest parts and did not like what they saw, so they closed it right back up and eventually it found its way to me. So we've got the leg open now, and here is the culprit. This is the little leaf spring that has been completely crushed by just aggressive little fingers trying to get this leg open and closed. Surprisingly, that spring is supposed to be nearly flat. There are a couple of hooks on the ends to fit it into the groove. There's a bump in the middle that goes into the negative space in the tracks to hold the extended and collapsed positions, but it's certainly not like this. Now, my intention here was just to show you the problem area, but now that I have the piece in hand, I'm feeling a really strong emotional tug to just fix it. So I'm going to do exactly that. Let me show you how to repair this. It's actually not that difficult. All we have to do is unbend the spring. Now, it's been bent beyond its elastic limit, so 9 out of 10 times when you unbend it, it's going to snap. But this repair still works. There will still be enough tension to support the leg in both positions. So the spring did snap, but we'll just layer them one on top of the other. Find the recess where the hook is supposed to go, and that holds in one end of the spring. Then we'll find the same recess on the other side and layer the long side over the short side of the spring. It always breaks this way, never right down the middle. And you'll see, you might be able to see there's still sort of a springiness to the leaf spring. Now we'll reassemble the leg. Just snug up the screws. And let's test it out. And you can see now that that leg is repaired. It's fully extending, fully collapsing, whereas the unrepaired leg continues to be seized in that kind of middle position. And number 2 is Mirage, a legendary figure from the early days who is plagued by blue plastic, which becomes very brittle over time and crumbles under a very light touch. So we're getting into advanced territory because not only is he often broken in many ways, but you can break him while trying to repair him. If your Mirage looks like this, you're not alone. Fortunately, all of this can be addressed, but unfortunately, none of it is straightforward. So let's take a look at some of the common problem areas on Mirage. The spoilers are often missing, and if you try to replace them, there's a good chance you'll snap them at the attachment point, so I recommend replacing the entire lower leg. The wheels can fall off, and these blue clips at the top of the shoulders, they hold the front and back half of the torso together. These often break even when you're trying to open up the toy for a repair. So the most common failure point on Mirage by far is the broken waist. There's a ridiculously brittle and small blue mushroom peg. You can't see it here because it's already broken off, but that's where it's supposed to be. And it's not strong enough to hold the weight of the bottom half with all that die cast. There is an excellent repair that was proposed by another channel called Toypoloi using Lego pieces, and that's the technique I use. I've done it 7 or 8 times now, and next time a Mirage comes through, I'll be sure to do a video on that. And we've made it to number 1, and who else could it be but Prowl, along with his brothers Blue Streak and Smokescreen. I think this is a stunning design of the era. It's truly beautiful, and at the same time, it's truly fragile in many, many different areas. So when you see them out in the wild, they often look like this. This is kind of the classic, but when they get to me, they're even worse. And upwards of half the value of the toy is actually held in these missing pieces that are so hard to replace. Taking a look at Prowl's problem areas, we'll start up front with the fenders. These are white plastic, and those tend to yellow badly. The rear windows will snap off due to the floating hinge at the back, and then these metal tabs that allow the windows to sit on top of the B-pillars. Those will snap off as well. Sometimes the wheels fall off and then the doors are often missing as well. The doors fall off because they're held to the hinge with this metal plank with tension, but they're also very easy to replace when you have a spare. But the top failure point on Prowl has to be the joint between his neck and the windshield. This is always broken. The roof is always missing. It's a very fragile connection point. And to fix it properly, I like to use this pinning technique, which is akin to sinking rebar. It gives structural integrity that was never there in the original mold, and it's practically invisible, but it is also a very precise procedure. So we'll cover that in a future video. And there we have it, 5 of the top breakage points in G1 transformers. We've looked at some of the easy ones as well as some of the headaches that require surgical intervention. But all of these are very true to life if you're out there collecting and restoring transformers. I hope this was useful information for you, and we'll see you next time.